What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Writing Gold Standard podcast. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-hosts Matt Llewellyn and Mike Andrews of Nothing But Niners. Apologies for the late start; it's all my fault, but we are here, fashionably late always, but here and ready to talk some 49ers, talk some draft. We got a great show planned for you this evening. Before I toss over to my guys, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you do us a solid, hit like and subscribe to both Nothing But Niners and 49ersHive channels. Really appreciate it. If you're watching on X, make sure you like and repost the post. Now that I got that away, Matt, how you doing this evening?
I'm good, man. I'm officially on baby watch. So, wifey's about 37 weeks. So we're getting close. A couple weeks away. And so it could happen at any time, really. So looking forward to that. But, we got to get all our ducks in a row and make sure people can come down and watch the toddler that we got, because that would be awful to have her in the room. That's a whole bunch of stuff. Anybody who's a parent out there knows the logistics of it can be a little rough, but I'm excited for it. So my plan is to be there for the draft. However, if birth pulls me away, then, got to be there too. So all in all, good.
Of course. Mike, how you doing?
Just make sure you got your cell phone charged up so you can at least jump in mobile. We could say
100%.
you and the new one and all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying?
100%. 100%.
I'm doing well, guys, man. I'm digging into the draft and the prospects and stuff like that. And I haven't gone through every single position just yet, but I've got some favorites, some guys that I like, some late round projected guys. You never know how the draft is going to go, and that's kind of the exciting part of it all. So I can't wait for the shocks. That's kind of what I'm looking forward to, is what we see at home versus what the professional scouts and all see on their end. So I'm looking forward to that. Like, who is this guy? We could have got him in the 7th, because all the mock draft experts saw this guy going undrafted and he get picks in the 3rd round, and they're like, oh, he's trash. So I can't wait for it. I can't wait.
It's going to be interesting, man. I feel like I've been somewhat removed this past week, so I'm glad you've been on top of it, Mike. You could be the expert for tonight's show, because I've been a little too far out of it in the weeds here. But with that said, I'm excited. We are 15 days away, like Mike said before we went live, Jawan Jennings amount of days away from the draft. The 49ers have the 11th overall pick, as we all know. They have a total of 11 picks? Yeah, 11 picks. Nice numerology, have the 11th pick, and they have 11 picks. There's so many different ways they can go with that 11th pick. And I don't know if there is a top pick, but Michael, toss it right back to you. If you were the GM of the San Francisco 49ers, who are you taking with 11th pick?
It kind of depends on how the board falls, right? Like there's some edge guys that you want. I think the likelihood is it's going to be Mike Green. We're going to end up getting an edge guy, someone who can come off, bring some speed and a nice little combination of power as well. A couple of moves. Some people are worried about where he played, but the production is the production, and there's certain things that you just can't teach. He possesses the things that you can't teach. Then you want to refine those skills. So I think Mike Green is most likely to be the pick for the Niners at 11 if I had to put money on it today. And it's not going to be a bad pick for us.
Mike Green, all right. I've heard his name floated out there as a possibility, but a lot of people talk about him late 1st round, but I have seen him mocked to the Niners. Matt, is there a position, is there a player that's at the top of your list?
Armand Membu. That's who I want, the offensive tackle. It would be a lot to get him to 11. But he's a guy that, again, I think that one of the 49ers' biggest need is right tackle, and conveniently enough, that's exactly where he played at Mizzou. There are some, things that he could work on. He can be a little grabby at times, but he's a super explosive athlete. And, again, when you're working with Colt McKivitz, it shouldn't be hard to upgrade. I think that he would be a plug-and-play guy. And then we can take Colt McKivitz back to where he belongs, which is as a swing tackle. The 49ers have a need for a swing tackles, considering that we lost Jalen Moore. So I think that, having McKivitz at a veteran position where he can step in case somebody, isn't playing well or, is injured, as this team often is, I think that would be much more valuable than trying to run it back with him again. I know that some people are mocking Mike Green, and no shade, Mike, but I think this is like it's Abdul Carter and then nobody who really jumps off the page at me. My issue with Mike Green is that I haven't seen enough of him. He was like a 1-year starter at Marshall, and it's a small school, and so that kind of gives me pause at like 11. I don't know. To me, I think he's like a late round 1 guy. I think people are going to fall in love with the Georgia guys, and they're all finesse. I don't like them at all. And then, did that guy say Shamar Stewart?
He did.
Stay away.
Most overrated player. That is Jadeveon Clowney 2.0. He is a workout warrior. He looked great on the field, but on the combine field, but his production in college was garbage. So
I think what people's argument against his production is going to be, well, Nick Bosa didn't have a ton of sacks either, right? And so they're going to say, oh, whatever, but Nick Bosa didn't test way up here. What they were looking at with Nick Bosa was a hand placement, how his feet and hands work together, and they thought that was going to translate well to the NFL level. Stewart does not possess the hands and feet in lock and in combo that they did. Now, I will say this. I love the Mimbu pick at 11. My issue is he's the only top-ranked tackle that is purely a right tackle. And that's my issue. What I don't want the Niners to do at 11 is pick a guy and then try to play him out of position his rookie year. And that's my big – like if he's there at 11, I would actually take him over Mike Green, if I'm being honest with you. So if both of those guys are there, I'm going Mimbu. So I do like that pick that Matt said. I just don't know if he's going to fall to 11 because he is a pure right tackle. Not that he can't be a swing later, but at 11, you want a guy that you can put on the field right away. And I don't want to get a Kelvin Banks or a Simmons because we don't know what their production is going to be.
Simmons, you don't even know if he's going to be the same player after tearing his patellar tendon, which is like a tough injury to come back from. But so like I really like in terms of mindset and ability, I like Will Campbell. It's just that everybody's projecting him to be a guard. And I don't think the 49ers need to go guard at 11. You know what I mean? So Membo is the only one that I feel like is a knockdown, drag out, full on like tackle prospect. Even some people have Kelvin Banks. I know Dane Brugler came out with like his huge draft thing or whatever, and he has Kelvin Banks listed as like a guard. And I have my own issues with Banks. I think he, can get. I mean, he's got Mike McGlinchey syndrome. I think he can get knocked out of rhythm and out of balance pretty easily. I was just underwhelmed by him. But yeah, if it's not Armand Membu, then like the next guy I'm looking at is like a Ariante Ursary or something like that. But that would be like later, So Membu would be the pick if he's there, but anybody else, I just don't know. Unless they feel like Will Campbell, they can make it work at tackle. Yeah. With Will Campbell, I think is the most polished,
right,
or offensive line prospect in the draft.
I would be. I think it would take the board falling a certain way. But my top two, Matt mentioned Will Campbell. I love Will Campbell. I think the dude's a fucking dog. Like, I think we're just outside 8 minutes. I think he's a dog. I think he's got everything you want in an offensive lineman. He's got that fire, that spirit that the 49ers offensive line desperately needs. Outside of Trent and now Pooney, to be fair, they don't really have that. So I'd be stoked if Will Campbell fell. I'm not sure if he will.
Did you see the interview that he did when they asked him about his arms?
Right. He's like,
look, I got all this tape. He's like, you guys are worried about the arms, like a measurement, really?
Yeah.
Like he's like,
I don't know about the arm thing. I've ever been told about my arms when I got to here. If not Campbell, then I think, and again, this would need the board to fall a certain way. Mason Graham. That's like my dream. If I'm the 49ers GM and if he's there at 11, I put that pick in and I don't think twice because he is a stud run defender. He could be a giant, black hole in the middle of the 49ers defensive line when they were like one of the worst ranked running defenses last year after consistently being top ranked. Those are my top two.
I'm in agreement with you on Mason Graham as well. I don't think he's getting to 11. And when they did the whole combine thing, and they show up, they do the underwear Olympics, and they're all in like the really tight like rash guards and like workout stuff or whatever. I was like, I really hope that the narrative about Mason Graham coming out is that he looks soft and shitty. You know what I mean? Like, I hope that everybody just looks at him and goes, no, I don't want that guy, because then he could come to San Francisco. Dude's a beast. He's a beast, man. just a total disruptor. Like we could be so lucky if he got to 11.
And hey, I get it. Faya Liger says Mason's not getting out of 10. He probably won't, right? But if like Cam Ward and Shador go, top 5, top 10, that pushes talent down.
There's also rumor that Jackson Dart could go top 10.
Oh,
listen, whoever takes a quarterback in the top 10 of this draft is either on their last year, a la like Brian Dable or somebody like that, or just wants to get fired because these quarterbacks all stink.
Yeah,
this,
and
this might be the worst. Do you remember what was it? The 2012? It was one with like Jake Locker and Christian Ponder and like that. This is that draft.
Or the
none of these guys are good.
The Geno and EJ Emanuel draft.
Yeah,
or the Trey
this
Lance
is a really bad one.
Mac Jones and sorry.
Well, but here's the thing. Yeah, that one turned out to be bad, but everybody thought going in that they were legitimate guys, right? Like this one, everybody kind of knows. They're like, they all suck. Yeah. They all suck. It's like Chad Pennington being like, this is Kenny Pickett being the only quarterback taken in the first round a couple years ago.
So the saving grace here are teams like like what the Chiefs did with getting Patrick Mahomes, right? Or what the Ravens did with Lamar Jackson. Like you want these guys to go late in the first round. Like we want that to be fresh in teams' memories so they can say, you know what, let's just go ahead and get these guys in the top 15 because we need these guys and hope that they pan out. And so if that's the case, if we can get one or two quarterbacks to come off the board, then the Niners will likely have either a top defensive tackle, an edge guy, or an offensive tackle fall to them at 11. That's what we need. We need two quarterbacks to come off the board. And so it's still a crapshoot because you just don't quite know how the teams are going to play it. And we need teams to be afraid that someone's just going to take a flyer on a quarterback later on in the first round. That's what we need.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised, and this is going to sound crazy, I would not be surprised to see Cam Ward go 1 overall.
He probably will.
He probably will. Yeah,
I think he will.
I think the Browns would fuck that up. If they were smart, they'd take Abdul Carter, but I don't. I think they're so needy at quarterback that they like simply can't afford to pass up on a quarterback, even if it doesn't work out again.
And Massage Watson tore his Achilles again, so he's going to be out for the entire season. At 805, I will watch more tape than I'd like to admit on these quarterbacks, and they're not good. They all have significant flaws. They all have, in any other year, they would not be, upper tier picks. But again, we're in a year where it's really slim pickings. So
you see the super chat, Mike?
Oh, I do, and I'm so confused right here. All right, let's just jump into it, right?
Yeah.
So Brandon Trejo, thank you for I don't know if you guys can hear my sound effects or not, but I'll play the little ching ching. I don't know if it went through or not. You did hear it.
Yep.
Okay, apparently my dog heard it too. Sorry. But he says Bosa and a 3 mid-round picks to move up for Graham, then take Michael at 11. Then trade Warner for first to get O-line help. Would y'all be game? I don't quite understand because if we're trading Bosa in the 3rd, that should also be for a first-round pick. He's saying move up for Graham, but then he said at 11. So I don't know what I don't quite know what this means. So if you can explain what you mean by that, like if we trade Bosa and a mid-3rd round pick, where are we in this scenario? Because we already have 11. So that Bosa in the mid-round pick doesn't equate to what he's saying here, right?
Maybe he means the pick that we would have had at 11. I don't know. I feel like this super chat is drunk. It got wilder as the sentences went on.
That's not nice. That's not nice.
Well, I appreciate you, Brandon, but I mean
it's a bad trade proposal.
Trading both Bosa and Warner.
He probably did this shit in Madden.
Georgia.
He probably did this shit in Madden.
Yeah, but I don't understand where. So I guess
so. He's saying trade Bosa and 3 mid-round picks to move up for Graham. Like get a high first rounder for Graham. Let's say like Raiders at 6, right? You still have your 11, right? And so you get Bosa and 3 mid-round picks to move up to like 6. You take Mason Graham. Then you sit at 11. You take Mykel Williams, which is a complete overdraft at that position. And then you trade Fred Warner for another first to go get O-line help. So you would get one at like the tail end of the first round.
I would not be game because you have completely depleted the defense. Like you've given up 2 all-pros on the defensive side for rookies, and I'm never doing that. Personally, that's just me. I wouldn't do that.
And by the way, that's the only reason why I say that this quarterback stinks. They all stink. They were good in college, but like, who would you give up? How far down the list of starting quarterbacks do you have to get before you'd be like, oh, I'd take Cam Ward over that guy? You know what I mean? Like, you have to get pretty far down.
Mike, I know you see that.
He just said Warner. Brandon, what's going on with you, bro? Like, what's up, man? Like, are you okay? What's in your hookah tonight?
He must have had some prop bets on Warner or something.
Am I in the Twilight Zone? Fred Warner doesn't suck. Fred Warner was overcompensating for the lack of linebackers playing next to him all year long.
And didn't he have like a broken ankle for like 1,000 weeks?
Right.
First
like
4 weeks
Warner Warner doesn't suck even remotely close. Oh, there's another count. What does this say here?
He said linebackers are low impact in today's game.
So low impact, it lost us a Super Bowl, actually, once our starting linebacker went out.
Mm-hmm. Right. Like once we lost Greenlaw, the Super Bowl just unraveled. The defense unraveled. I don't know how you can prove the value of a linebacker more than the biggest game of the year, and the whole thing just do a 180.
All right. We gotta send him back under the bridge. I think he's trolling.
I think. Yeah, I don't know. By the way, 805 Blackbeard made a great point. Saleh would never allow Fred and Bosa to be traded. Imagine coming back, right? These 2 guys that you coached up that have turned into fucking all pros. You know, Bosa was already that, but like Fred has really, really blossomed into like the best linebacker in the game while you were gone. And then you come back and you don't even get to coach a game with either of them. Not one or both of them, excuse me. Not like one or the other, with both. He'd probably resign on the spot, and I wouldn't even blame him. Like, that's probably half the reason he came back, was to be able to coach these 2 all pros once again. So absolutely not. Whatever the 49ers rebuild plans are, is affordable with Bosa and Warner on the roster. I would say it's more than affordable. It's necessary that they're on the roster in order to even have a shot at doing a real rebuild that has any chance of succeeding. 805 Blackbeard, $2 super chat. Thank you very much. Which DT has the most nasty tape?
Mason Graham. 100% Mason Graham.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So Mason Graham's tape is really, really good. But there's this guy named TJ Sanders, and he might go in the 2nd, maybe even 3rd round. But if you watch his tape, when motivated, his effort is A+. Absolute A+. That guy is a dog. U.S. South Carolina Gamecock guy. He's nice, right? But the issue is keeping him motivated all the time, right? And these guys aren't finished products. If you can go out there and get a guy like him, I think that you'd be really, really happy. But I don't know if he's gonna go in the 1st round. I don't know if he's gonna go. I don't know if he's gonna go in the top half of the 1st round if he does make it to the 1st round. He might be out of reach for the Niners because I think there might be someone better for a different position for him. You know what I'm saying? Us at 11 as opposed to him. But again, guys, a lot of this depends on how the board falls. The Niners are going to be playing reactive and reaction draft tactics here, so it's gonna play a lot. But I do like you. If you want a nasty guy when he's motivated, he's the one. And his weight, by the way, he's at like 299. Like, he's perfect for. Do we want him to lose weight to do this, or do we want him to gain a little bit more to be that? And he is right there. He's like the perfect guy that you can build to fit your roster how you want. He's got the perfect size for it. TJ Sanders, that's the guy.
Matt, do you have anything to add?
No, just for safeties, I think my favorite is probably Malachi Starks. Would probably fit this team and what they want to do. Athlete, can go sideline to sideline and pass coverage. Maybe not as great in run defense, but like, I mean, when you have, who we have at safety, I think both of, Brown and Malik Mustafa are both like really good. I mean, shit, we saw Mustafa on tape blowing up gaps in the run game. So what we don't have is that true like center fielder, like ball hawk type safety. And I think Malachi Starks would be that. But I mean, he's going to go in the top 20 picks. So
Malachi is a good one, and then right after him, I have Xavier Watts. Those guys are both
Xavier Watts is
really good playmakers. Yeah, those guys.
Nick Emanwari is good. You know,
Yeah.
there's a couple.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of? Sorry, Derek Harmon at 11. That's the pick. How do you feel? Does it move the needle?
No.
Our guy Stewart
seems
to think that that's the Niners' top pick.
I think that's early. And yeah, I mean, I can see it again because they have a history, right? Like they obviously people think back to, you know, Eric Armstead and DeForest Buckner and go, oh, they were both Oregon guys. They were both, you know, really big guys. I don't know, man. I think a lot of it is, right, that everybody showed up at Oregon's Pro Day. That makes a big impact. I think Lynch was there. All the scouts were there. And I think they like some of the Oregon guys. I personally think that they were there a little bit for Harmon, but I think they really like Jeffrey Bassa, the linebacker. That's be somebody I'd keep an eye on. But in terms of defensive tackles, like I think Harmon is good, but if you're not going to get, I don't think you could do him at 11. Again, he's like a late first round guy to me, maybe early second, along with like Kenneth Grant. Like you're talking between 20 and like 35, depending on how the boards play out. But at that point, I mean, you know, I think didn't they take like a top 30 visit with Omar Norman Lott from Tennessee? Mm-hmm. So like at that, you know, he's projected to go like third round. So I think if they don't get somebody like a Mason Graham at 11, where it's like, you know, at 11, I'm sure they have a plan unless one of the, you know, gold helmets or somebody so overwhelmingly talented that it's a surprise they fall that far that they have to turn in the pick. But I think Derek Harmon at 11 is a reach for sure.
That's I hate calling guys a reach, right? And I get it because I agree.
It doesn't matter if they work out, right?
Yeah. Like so, it's tough to say, but the when you put on the film of this guy, he's undersized. And in the sense that, right, when especially if you're comparing him to Buckner and Armstead, right, you're talking 6'8" and 6'7" guys, where this guy's only like 6'3", and I think that might be like
6'4" and 4/10.
Right. Okay. There you go. So 6'4" and 4/10. Like, and so like he doesn't have like the right when you get a Buckner or you get an Armstead, you're hoping that they can get low and then explode as soon like they're going to come from low and like boom, they're going to push all that weight on you and blow guys off of the line, right? I don't know that Harmon has that. He's a feisty guy for sure, and he's really good with his hand placement when off the snap. But I just think that at 11, he's a day two guy to me. He's a day two guy to me for sure.
Yeah, and I was reading about him too. He's like, after the whole Deebo Samuel fiasco, I have an issue with guys that you got to work on with conditioning, and he's better. Like at the combine, he was like 313, but when he was a freshman at Michigan State, he was like 350, 355, and he was like out of shape. So I always worry about the guys that need a lot of conditioning. And the other thing too is like you were saying, you know, you want guys that get low, and I think that his pad level is inconsistent. I think he gets stood up on blocking. I think that he relies more on athleticism and like raw talent than he does with technique. I think his technique's a little sloppy. He can, you know, doesn't read run gaps very well. Not really a disciplined player, gets a lot of penalties. So I think that he would be a guy that you take almost like a little bit of a project, but then it just, you know, he reminds me a little bit of like Drake Jackson, where he's athletic and he's very, very, you know, for his size, he's quick and nimble, but that the technique is not there. And it's like, I just worry about that stuff. But unlike Drake Jackson, this guy is durable for sure.
You should absolutely be worried because I've been saying it for a while. I'm kind of over the Chris Kocurek thing, right? I haven't seen him develop good guys. I know that was like kind of his, like the aura around him is like, oh, Chris Kocurek can turn anybody into somebody, right? But the last 3 or 4 seasons, that has been the furthest thing from the truth.
It's Bosa who came in with immaculate technique, right?
Exactly.
And he inherited Armstead and Buckner,
Right.
who were under the previous regime. So like,
got,
it's like, who has he developed as a defensive lineman in the entire time that he's been here?
Right.
And even honestly, even some people would say in the last couple of years that Bosa's underperformed.
Yeah,
I think the argument.
Like this.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. I'll go after you.
That right there, perfect. That I disagree with this so much. Like last year was the first year the Niners didn't give him somebody in the first or second round. In fact, they didn't draft any defensive linemen at all for him. They didn't bring in any free agents, right? But he's been getting the top priority of free agent, right? And so you look at Hargrave.
They got
Leonard Floyd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, listen, Leonard Floyd had like 9.5 sacks.
But he came in as a finished and polished vet.
Right. No,
yes.
Oh,
yeah.
So
no,
I'm talking about what the coach brings to the player.
Right.
I haven't seen Kocurek bring anything to a player, and that's my concern when you're talking about a guy like Harmon. How is he going to improve him? I don't think Kocurek can do it. Like, and what I don't think is that he hasn't had talent to play with, because I think that's the furthest thing from the truth.
Like, who is he? Okay, so he gets D Ford in a trade. D Ford talented, but already a finished product and just injury prone, right? But who have they drafted? They drafted Bosa, and Bosa is just so technically sound and gifted that he's going to be good no matter who his coach is, even if he has underperformed, like a lot of people, But think about this: they get rid of Buckner, they get rid of Armstead. Who do they get? Javon Kinlaw. Did he do anything with Kinlaw? Absolutely nothing.
Not at all.
Did they do anything with Drake Jackson? Absolutely nothing with Drake Jackson.
Not at all.
They drafted Solomon Thomas. He did absolutely nothing with Solomon Thomas. Like, they have three or four times. Hargrave. Hargrave came in. I think Hargrave was a finished product too, because he was like 28 when he came. He didn't do anything with
to him. Is my point. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they have. I'm counting three first round picks and 1 second round pick that he's gotten, and to say that like he hasn't had any talent, and the only one that has been successful in the league, like actually successful, is the one that was already technically and proficiently like developed at Ohio State in Nick Bosa. The one that it was just like, you can't even like miss on that guy. You know what I mean? Like,
fell into the lap.
Yeah, everybody else has either been like a free agent and again, or like a trade. And again, D Ford was a finished product, but like D Ford was talented. He just got injured. Like, that's just how it was.
So I think the argument came from guys like Kerry Hyder, guys like the guy who was from Arden Key, even he was the Raiders like top 5 pick that one year that we had.
Oh, Cleveland Farrell,
Charles Amenahue. Like, these guys came in and had like surprising numbers after being pretty ass their prior career. But
my theory,
real quick, is how much of that is playing alongside Nick Bosa and and Eric Armstead. I think a lot of the credit went to Kocurek, when maybe it should have just gone to the players there, because,
or not even just Bosa and Armstead, but Fred Warner. And when Richard Sherman was still balling, he was balling. And then you have you have not only Charvarius Ward, but you had Jimmy Ward and Jaquaski Tart back there to bail you out. We had good corners, we had good linebackers, and we had a really good edge rusher. And so it makes their job so easy. We had really good defensive coordinators. In the year that Kerry Hyder was really good, who was the defensive coordinator?
Solid.
Okay. And then after that, you get D'Amico Ryans, and D'Amico Ryans has was a really good coordinator, turned into a really good head coach. But notice how when this position group isn't being carried by everybody else, it looks like it underperforms. And to me, that's a coaching issue. It's him not getting as much talent.
To further the point, put the icing on what both of you guys are saying, all of those names, Clellan Ferrell, Mo Hurst, and all those guys, right? Arden Key, they were part of a rotation where before they came to the Niners, they were the guy not producing. True. It's easy if you tell me, hey, Mike, we only need you for 15 snaps this game, and we need you to be phenomenal. I got fresh legs every time I step on the damn field. You're going to get more production out of me as opposed to me playing 40-plus snaps every single game. And so those guys came in and were just part of a rotation. I'm not going to credit a guy like Chris Kocurek for their production in those seasons. I'm not going to do it, right? We saw games where Drake Jackson had 2 or 3 sacks, and if you go back and watch them, we're like, oh, man, those stats look good. But then you go and watch them, it's like, hold on a second. Wait a damn minute. Those were more effort sacks because the secondary locked down everybody.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or Kenny Pickett slipped and fell and he tapped him.
Right. Then you go out there, or someone runs out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage and you were the closest person, so you're credited for, like, no, I'm not crediting Kilsaric for that kind of shit. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not gonna do it.
Much to Zach's credit is that, Bosa and Armstead overwhelmingly just beat their opponent, and then they ran away from those guys only to fall into somebody else who just happened to finally get off their block.
I see out of 805, a sack is a sack, bro. I'm not sure I agree with that. Sure, in the grand scheme of things, stat-wise, but if you're looking to pay someone, would you rather have somebody who had 10 sacks because the premier edge rusher on that team pushed the quarterback directly into them? Or would you rather have somebody who got 10 sacks off of beating their man and bull rushing him into the quarterback and taking him down? These are way differently.
By the way, don't even tell a sack is a sack to Mark Gastineau. You won't like that shit one bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jackson can't get on the field anyway. Yeah, man.
That was a really good reference, Matt, by the way. That was really good.
Over.
Yeah. But
I don't know. And he went on to say, I see your point, Mike. So he does he's at least listening and being receptive to what we're saying.
No, I appreciate that.
I like that. So that's solid there, 805. But no, and I've been saying for the last couple of seasons that I'm kind of over the Chris Kilsaric experiment, but I don't know that Kyle is luring in good positional coaches here. I keep saying it. Tony, we did a show the other night, guys, right, with Tony on Tuesday night, maybe Monday night. I don't remember what night it was.
Big Tone.
And Tony just went silent on me because I said that I think Kyle Shanahan is a black cloud. I think that top-end free agents don't want to come here and play. I think that Nick Bosa warned Joey, you don't want to come here. It's not what you think it is. And then Tony was like, oh, fuck that. If you're going to say that, then I'm not saying anything else. Nope. No one wants to come here. That's it. It's over. Whoever we get is who we get. And I'm like, Tony, that's not what I was trying to, I'm not trying to talk you out of an opinion. I'm saying that there is something about the 49ers, as good as we are, as deep as the playoff pushes are that we are. If the Niners make the postseason, you guys realize we get NFC Championship or better. You would think that you have free agents beating down the door to play for the Niners. You would think that. That's not the case. That's not the case.
I don't
These
know about
guys
that.
are. You don't know about that?
Well, can I present a counter argument?
Please.
And then we'll get to the super chat. How many position coaches have been head coaches already from working under Kyle Shanahan or being Kyle Shanahan's defensive coordinator? 3?
You're asking about the guys who have left and then went on to become head coaches?
Yes. So therefore, let's look at this year and last year. 2 players come directly to mind when you were talking. Sam Darnold, Mac Jones. They came here specifically knowing it would be a backup role. At most, maybe if Brock Purdy's elbow didn't reattach and Trey Lance wasn't the guy, like Sam Darnold was in the midst of all of that, but he knew most likely he would be on the bench. But he understood just the benefit of being with the 49ers, with Kyle Shanahan, from what he says now, behind Brock Purdy for a year, like what he could get out of that. And look at what he did. He took that year and then he went to Minnesota and had a career year, like literally an MVP caliber year. And then now he's rejuvenated and his image is totally different. Mac Jones is trying to do the same exact thing. Is there an argument to be made for defensive players? Sure, but I don't know how much of the blame Kyle Shanahan bears of that, but he is the head coach.
They did sign Charvarius Ward and Javon Hargrave as free agents. It's not like they've never signed anybody.
Right. Right.
I just think that the biggest thing is that, one, we know that the 49ers pay their players. Like, we've seen it. So that's naturally going to limit how much, you're going to be able to get free agents. And 2, I think that, more so than Kyle, I think the way that Parag and the 49ers do contracts is the bigger issue for free agents.
Good point.
And we go, oh, Parag magic. But like the last couple of years, I've just been like, especially, when you consider, again, the Nick Bosa negotiation, we had the Brandon Ayuk negotiation, Deebo Samuel one, now Brock Purdy. We haven't heard anything and stuff. I think that I think I'm on the position of I'm starting to get over Parag's kind of like wheeling and dealing bullshit too, because once you got the guy in the building, it's easier to finesse him every day, wear him down every day, be like, look, dude, like let's get this done. We want to have you here. Look, you like it here. Blah blah blah. We saw it with Kyle Juszczyk, right? They cut his ass. They were like, yeah, you can go. Like we need you to take a pay cut. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. Went to Pittsburgh, saw what they had, and was like, oh shit, I guess I'll go back, right? Because he's already been in the building. He knows what it's about here. He has friends here. They built whatever. Every major free agent that they've created, they've either really tried to pay or they have paid. Right? We're talking Fred Warner, Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa, Brandon Ayuk. We're talking Christian McCaffrey, who they brought in. They gave Jimmy Garoppolo $137 million after 5 starts. You know what I mean? They did it with
Lenore.
all of Deommodore Lenore gets paid, right? George Kittle gets paid. So Trent Williams came here on a trade. They redid his deal twice. Right? Like, so they pay players. So I don't think that's it. I think that it's easier to finesse people when they're in the building. And I think free agents look out there and they go, okay, the 49ers want to do all this weird shit, and then like the Browns are just going to give me money, and I'll just do that because that seems easier. Yeah. And I think that that's much more of it than Kyle Shanahan, because when you talk to players around the league, especially offensive players, they're like, oh, Kyle Shanahan, dude, like he's like the best of the best. So I think that that's more, but I mean, it could be a number of things,
Yeah. And I think, Matt, just to add on, then Mike respond. At this point, all of us are in the camp where it's like, I do not care if you don't get the team-friendly deal that saves you a couple million off the top every year. You're pissing these fucking players off, and it's like a soured relationship. And, to quote fucking James Franco in Pineapple Express, you can't get the monkey back in the bottle. Like, once that happens, like, you can't get a different view of that person. It's like, oh, okay, like, I thought we were on business terms and everything was good. You just tried to fuck me for the last 4 months, and now I'm supposed to come in here happily sign this contract when you were trying to literally nickel and dime me all along the way. Like, have I not given you everything that you could have asked of a rookie coming into this league? Look at Ayuk. Deebo, I get, was like 1 year explosive, and then, of course, never lived up to that. But Bosa, Warner, Kittle, like, these deals got dragged out way later, and now we're dealing with Brock Purdy. I don't know at what point does the panic meter start to arise with 49ers fans, July?
Yeah.
If he's still not signed by July, are we starting to say, well, what the fuck's going on?
Well, and especially when you look around the league and other people have re-signed their free agents already, like re-signed their big name guys,
Mm-hmm.
Look, we're trying to get a quarterback deal done with Brock Purdy, whatever. And the Bengals went out and signed both of their top guys, like in that time, Yeah. And by the way, they didn't even have to do anything with Jamar Chase. He was under contract for another like 2 years or whatever, and they still did it. And, again, I don't think that you can consider the Bengals a more cash flush franchise than the 49ers.
They have the poorest owner.
I think isn't Mark Davis the poorest owner still?
Well, he's like 30th, maybe. Mike Brown is like 30th.
One of the poorest owners. And you look at the 49ers and people talking about how like Jed, they're getting cheap. They are worth billions upon billions of dollars because the 49ers is not where they get their money from. By the way, the 49ers ran at hundreds of millions of dollars profit last year. So the loan that they took out or whatever was specifically for the stadium fixes to do the World Cup stuff, because you need to make your stuff liquid. You have to have liquidity to do that stuff, because you can't pay a construction company in stocks.
Mike, what's your response to any of that, all of that, some of that?
I had a million thoughts. I will say this. I think that you guys are giving Kyle way too much credit for the Sam Darnold turnaround. That's my.
Oh, hold on. Let me stop you in your tracks there. I've always thought, Zach, what did I call Sam Darnold last year?
Bum.
No. Oh. More specifically, a fucking pumpkin.
Pumpkin.
Pumpkin is a fucking pumpkin.
Yes.
No, I don't want to be lumped in with giving Sam Darnold any. I don't give a fuck about Sam. I didn't mention Sam Darnold one goddamn time.
And Mike, I feel like he specifically cited that as a reason as to why he came here. He took less money to come back up Brock Purdy, maybe compete for a starting gig. You're telling me he couldn't have gone to the Raiders or to, any of these other quarterback needy teams and had a chance to start, like
I
for
guess-
a shitty team, for a crappy team.
I guess my question is, what did Kyle do for him? That's because Kyle, he didn't do shit here.
It's the system, right? It's the offensive system that quarterbacks know. Why do you think Sam Darnold came here, Mike? Just because he likes the coast?
I think he got an opportunity
That
and
no one else was giving him?
Yes. That part.
Really? You think 31 other teams weren't giving him a similar deal to come compete?
Who was looking for? I think Sam Darnold said, "All right, if they're going to go with Mr. Irrelevant over me, I have a shot to compete." I think that he looked at it as his best opportunity to come in and compete for a starting role.
With
I don't
Trey
think that
Lance
Sam
there
Darnold-
too?
Yeah, everyone was over Trey Lance by the time he got here also. I don't think that for a second he thought, man, if I can just sit under Kyle and learn, my value will go up. Because how many games did Sam Darnold start for the 49ers?
One, maybe? Did he start any?
Let's just say it was one. And I want to throw in that word maybe.
I think he
That
started
wasn't
the
enough.
last game.
That wasn't enough to get Sam Darnold the Minnesota Vikings job. That wasn't enough to get Sam Darnold the pay that he got. Like, none of that had anything to do with it. He just happened to be
Wait. Because now you're saying that wasn't enough for him to get a top contract after. That was never my argument. I'm saying the argument for him was knowing what it could do to his career going forward, what it could do to him as a player. I'm talking about contractually wise. And he didn't get a crazy deal from Minnesota. He got like the cheapest deal you could get out of a starting quarterback that's a free agent. Like, he got pretty close to the vet minimum.
Him playing in Minnesota did 100 times more for his career than what he got from being here.
But
and
I
agree.
don't think
Yeah,
that
sure.
he gets that Minnesota contract without
No.
coming here first with Shanahan to rehabilitate. And it's not necessarily the play that you see on the field. Think about the coaches that he had prior to this, and who even knows if he knew how to sit in on an actual NFL offensive meeting.
Yeah.
Because the teams that he were on were dog shit. So, and by the way, I will say this in opposition to Kyle Shanahan, Sam Darnold gives the most credit to his growth to Brock Purdy. So sitting in with Brock Purdy and learning from Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
But I think that, again, I think that there's something to Zach saying, like, hey, these quarterbacks come here because of, the perception that Kyle Shanahan is this, offensive guru and will make quarterbacks look good. And I think the proof in the pudding is that everybody looks at Jimmy Garoppolo getting paid and actually going to a Super Bowl with the 49ers and remember we had this, the fans would be like, Jimmy Garoppolo is 27-6 as a starter with the 49ers or whatever.
Right.
And then couldn't even make it through his first fucking season with the Raiders without getting replaced and having Devontae Adams essentially wanting to like escort him out of town.
He LeBron'd him.
Ironically enough, I think it's hilarious that Devontae Adams and Jimmy Garoppolo are now on the same team again. I think that's hilarious. But
yeah. By the way, Mike, why is Mac Jones here?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if you're really asking me this or if you're like it's like a tongue-in-cheek question.
You don't think it has like a little bit to do with what he just saw happen to Sam Darnold?
I don't know how to interpret what you're asking me. Like, the Sam Darnold success isn't because of the 49ers at all.
Yeah, but
it's a little bit.
If you don't, Kevin O'Connell and Kyle Shanahan talked about Sam Darnold. 100% they did. All these guys talk to each other. Kyle, I'm drafting this guy at 9, JJ McCarthy or whatever. Like, we're thinking about taking a look at Sam Darnold. Give me like your honest opinion or whatever. And all Kyle has to do is be like, knowing that Darnold was going to, just by virtue of being in San Francisco, because remember, Darnold signed with the 49ers for essentially the vet minimum. The Vikings gave him a $10 million contract off of one start. So he went from vet minimum to $10 million. Like, again, if that's not the Kyle Shanahan rub, like, what else is?
I think the common denominator is Sam Darnold is choosing to go to teams with inexperienced quarterbacks, right? It was less about Kyle and more about, dude, it's Brock Purdy. Like, if you don't think that you can go over there and wow those guys, like,
Brock Purdy was coming off of an insane year.
Brock Purdy was coming off a Super Bowl appearance. He wasn't gonna.
I get that.
Gonna,
I'm not arguing
the championship.
or a championship experience.
Right.
Yeah, excuse me.
I'm not arguing against that, right? But like the day that we signed Sam Darnold, there were 49ers like tenured beat writers saying he's got the best talented arm of anybody else since Steve Young, right? Like
history.
Yeah.
Well,
so my point is that Sam is assessing the quarterback rooms of the teams that he's signing with. I think it had less to do with Kyle Shanahan and more about I might be able to get on the field with that team. He didn't do shit as a 49er. What are we like? What exactly are we crediting him for? Him sitting in a classroom and like, Kyle, you did a good job letting Sam Darnold sit in a classroom and learn. Like, what? I don't know what we're saying that Kyle did for Sam Darnold.
What do you mean? If you've had a good teacher versus a bad teacher,
right? You know exactly. That's exactly it. If you have a shitty calculus teacher, you're not going to learn any calculus. But if you find a teacher that can get through to you on your wavelength and how you can learn, then you pick some of that out, and that's how you get that.
But both of your words were that Sam Darnold said it had nothing to do with Kyle and everything to do with Brock.
No, I didn't say he had nothing. I said I was devil's advocating. He said he credits Purdy the most, but he credits the 49ers organization as a whole. You're saying you're putting words in my mouth that I said he didn't credit Kyle Shanahan at all, and that's not true. I said that just in interviews, it seems like he credits Brock Purdy more.
Okay. And just to add, you're telling me there weren't 30 other quarterback rooms that he looked at and said, that looks like ass. I could probably fit in there and compete.
Right. You're telling me that he would rather go to a quarterback who had just come off an NFC Championship game, albeit with an injury, and go there rather than stay in Carolina where they were just going to draft a rookie. And he could have done the same shit that he did in Minnesota.
He was already in Carolina.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Why didn't he stay? Why didn't he stay?
Because a first-round pick is going to push him a lot further down than Mr. Irrelevant coming off of a significant arm injury to his throwing arm.
Hold on. But then why did he go to Minnesota then?
Because it was JJ fucking McCarthy, who was a first-round guy, and there was no backup there. The Niners had no backup to Mr. Irrelevant, who's coming off of a major arm. They were over Trey Lance already.
That wasn't a.
Do y'all remember what?
Going into that offseason, we had conversations about will they even go back to Brock Purdy or is it owed another?
You can't say that because the only reason Brock Purdy got the opportunity to begin with was because Trey Lance broke his leg. They weren't over Trey Lance at that point. They weren't over until they got them into camp. All three of them.
If your future depended on you playing behind someone who had a bad arm in one guy and a bad leg in the other guy, and then there's you, versus a team where they're going to be drafting a top 5 quarterback, which one are you going to pick? Because the Panthers were picking that high.
Right. But
you're gonna pick the team with the 2 debilitated quarterbacks and say, I probably have better odds of doing something on that team. Whether or not he got there, because he didn't get there, right?
Get
like
that.
He didn't touch the field.
But you can't. This argument makes makes zero sense though. You're saying that he didn't stay in Carolina because they were drafting a high first-round quarterback that would push him. And yet after he left San Francisco, he went to a team that drafted a high first-round quarterback that was going to push him. JJ McCarthy was going to start that year. Yes. And he would have immediately been QB2. Immediately. He would have been QB2 in Carolina as well. Again, you're making the same argument. You're saying what? It doesn't make any sense.
So you take QB2, who is tied to a head coach, because now we have to get deeper. Now you guys are talking about Kyle Shanahan, so this is great, right? You got Mr. Brock Purdy, who was in the NFC Championship game, and Kyle Shanahan, right? That's a pretty good combination. Then you have a head coach who knows what his future is going to be, plus a top 10 pick, and they're taking the quarterback, right? That quarterback and that head coach are going to be tied together like this. Kyle has no commitment to Brock Purdy because I just saw what he did to his number 3 overall pick in Trey Lance. He's at least going to step back and say, look at the most talented guy here. That guy in Carolina can't do that if they're picking that high. He doesn't have the luxury to do that. He didn't have the luxury to do that.
I'm just going to add, nothing had happened to Trey Lance at that time. He was still hurt.
That's not true. Trey Lance was hurt.
I know, but you're saying, look at what they just did to the number 3 overall pick. They hadn't done anything.
That wasn't a thing yet. They hadn't done anything yet.
I don't know what you guys are remembering that I'm not remembering.
At free
Trey Lance,
agency, nothing had happened with the 49ers
Right.
and Trey
and
Lance.
all
going
the
into that
stories
season.
had already come out with Kyle saying, dude, like, it's not Lance, it's Purdy. All those stories had already come out.
Right.
What are we forgetting?
Okay, wait. But you're just completely skipping over the fact that logically, Sam Darnold will look at that situation and be like, well, they're not going to get rid of the guy that they traded 3 first-round picks for, even if he is backing up Purdy.
I think it was very rare the 49ers cut their losses as quickly as they did. I don't think anybody expected them to do that. I know I sat on this show that offseason saying, we just went through 4 fucking quarterbacks. Keep them both. Keep them both. I think that was most of the logic at the time. And the 49ers said, no, we don't want to do that. We're sending them to Dallas for a 4th or whatever the fuck they got.
4th. That was a good. Yeah, it was a 4th. I
That
guess
was a good pick. That was a good trade.
Maybe I'm not doing justice in trying to explain, but this was clearly a better opportunity for Sam Darnold. Here, a guy coming off of an injury and a guy that the Niners had openly admitted at the podium wasn't the guy. So you got a guy on the roster, albeit, yes, coming off an injury that you didn't believe in Trey Lance, and another guy coming off of an injury that was throwing towels when I signed my deal. That's a better opportunity than a J.J. McCarthy. Like, what are we saying?
You don't think it had even like a little bit to do with the fact that Kyle Shanahan's like one of the top prolific offensive coaches in the NFL, and like his offense is known to be very quarterback friendly?
Okay, so I think that Sam Darnold thought, if I can get in Kyle's offense with those 2 decrepit quarterbacks,
now we're talking.
Then I can look good, right? So okay, so now I'm with you. So I think that hear me out. I think that Sam Darnold did see the value in that. That guy's got a bad arm. They've already said they're out on that guy, and he's got a bad leg. If I can get on the field and just look good for a few games, my stock is going to go up. He didn't get on the field for a few games, one that everyone admitted to, right? And he still got the stock to increase. So he made the right call. Where if it's in Carolina, that guy is going to be the starter and he's healthy. I have a less of a chance of touching the field there. Brock Purdy, no one knew if he was going to be able to play when he signed his deal. Brock Purdy was throwing towels in practice when he signed that deal. I want you guys to remember exactly where we were.
Darnold?
Huh?
Darnold.
Yes,
Darnold.
Darnold. Yeah. Yeah, I want you guys to remember exactly where we were. The team was out on Trey Lance already, publicly, and Brock Purdy didn't have an arm that worked publicly. So, yes, that was his best situation and a quarterback-friendly system. All of that said, best opportunity to me for Sam Darnold. That's how I would interpret it. As opposed to a team that's getting a guy in the top 10, he's definitely going to be the guy and he's healthy. There's no chance I'm going to see the field over there.
Is this still the best opportunity if, say, Jeep Chris is the OC?
Is Kyle still the guy here?
No. Jeep Chris is calling plays, and Jim Tomsula is the head coach.
No. But he came here because of Kyle's quarterback. But I said that already. I said Kyle's quarterback-friendly offense plus the 2 broken quarterbers.
There were shitty quarterback rooms in the NFL outside of the 49ers.
None of those shitty quarterbacks
to make the extra effort to go here.
Okay, so then to that point, you're right, because none of those shitty quarterback rooms had Kyle Shanahan and Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle and Trent Williams and Kyle Juszczyk. Like, none of those other shitty situations included that big bunch that I just named. So to your point, yes, absolutely. I thought Sam Darnold said, right. So I think the truth is somewhere in the middle of what we're all saying. I think we're all saying the same thing, maybe, but I think that you guys are crediting Kyle a bit too much for the Sam Darnold reclamation project.
I just don't think he's a black hole.
I do too, but I think that his days with Minnesota did significantly more for his future in the NFL than anything that happened here in San Francisco.
But that's irrelevant. He wouldn't have gotten the opportunity in Minnesota if he hadn't come here.
Okay, and I think that's your guys' point, and I think that's what I'm stepping over.
Yes,
I think what you guys are saying is he doesn't even go to Minnesota.
He got the Seattle contract because of his year in Minnesota. because JJ McCarthy got injured and he got to play for the entire season. That's why he gets the Seattle contract, but he doesn't even get to Minnesota if he doesn't come to San Francisco.
And what you guys are saying is if he doesn't come here, but that one game was enough for him to go to Minnesota. Is that what you guys think?
No, but it's not that. It's teaching him. Again, we went from Sam Darnold, I see ghosts in New York, to getting a $10 million job to be a backup to a rookie quarterback in Minnesota. And the bridge in between those two is a professionally run, talent-laden head coach with a high reputation in the league for being an offensive guru team in San Francisco. And you get the rub from that. You get Sam Darnold came through that system. Kyle Shanahan saying good things about him. The 49ers know they can't afford him, so they're going to give him the reference to Kevin O'Connell, who runs a similar offensive scheme to Kyle Shanahan with a team that has a lot of talent in it, where you know that, hey, if we can't run the rookie out here, this guy played with Kyle Shanahan, played with a bunch of talent, like at least on the practice field. We know that he can go out there and maybe cover for JJ McCarthy so he doesn't have to start right away or whatever that case may be. That's where I'm at. By the way,
I will willingly back down because we also saw what you guys are talking about with CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins and Trey Lance. So everybody that was a backup here did get another at least opportunity to sign with someone or a reputable team, a respectable team after leaving here. So
I think Brian Hoyer got another job.
Right.
Didn't he go back to New England?
He went back to New England.
Yeah, golly. So I'll back down. You guys are right. Yeah. Signing with Kyle does get you at least a backup job, not QB3, a QB2 job. So I'll eat that. I was wrong. I'll take that
real quick. There also is some weight behind that reference, right? Kevin O'Connell and Kyle Shanahan are close. Like they're friends. They work together, or they have worked together. I think in Washington, maybe I'm wrong. I know that they're all friends. McVay, Shanahan, O'Connell, McDaniels now. And I think, like Matt mentioned, just simply picking up the phone. You had this guy for a year. What do you think of him? And I can't imagine why Kyle Shanahan would have bad things to say about Sam Darnold. Like that holds weight. It's like if somebody went to you, Mike, that you don't know at all, and is like, you're looking to hire somebody and they're like, hey, this guy's really good. Like, I don't know you. But if your best friend or your brother calls you and is like, no, he's like legit, this guy can do the job, that holds weight. So I think that benefited Sam Darnold as well. I'm not giving Kyle Shanahan 1,000% credit for Sam Darnold resurging his career, but I think this is the pit stop that was necessary for that to happen. If that makes sense.
And we don't even know that if like Sam Darnold could have been renegotiating with the 49ers and had a price, and the Niners are like, that's too much, that Kyle Shanahan didn't pick up the phone and call Kevin O'Connell and be like, hey, I know you guys are drafting a rookie, but if you guys need like a backup, about $10 million for this guy, like, probably be okay. Yeah. You know, I think that's more of it. But yeah, like
also to add Mac Jones again, who specifically said on the podcast, I came here to learn and to try and pick up and to soak and to be a sponge. Like that's a top first round pick.
And again, we've been clowning Mac Jones for this like pittance of a contract that he took.
Right.
Where you got your tight end 2 making $20 million. $5 million a season, and dude signs 2 years for like what was it, $5 million or whatever. He's making 2.5 a year, and he signed 2 years under that price. So even if Purdy gets hurt or whatever, Mac Jones comes out and plays well or whatever, like he's not going nowhere. Like he's here.
Sam Darnold did not win any games for the 49ers. He came in though in relief of Brock Purdy on Christmas night against the Ravens, led a couple scoring drives. Played well, if my memory serves me right, in week 18 versus the Rams in a game that the 49ers rested all their starters, but that they ended up losing to Carson Wentz in the Rams, who had been there for 5 minutes.
Do you know who had better stats and more snaps than Sam Darnold in that season? Andy Dalton, the backup quarterback in Carolina.
That's funny. That is funny. All right. We have a super chat here that we kind of got away from a little bit. Let me pull it up here. Brandon Trejo. Third mock. Thoughts? First, Membu. Second, Grant. Third, Judkins.
You had me in the first half, I'm not going to lie. But I don't know, man. Are the rest of you as gun shy as I am on third round running backs?
I would prefer to
can't do any more, man. I can't do any more. They've done like 4, and I can't do any more. They did Joe Williams, Trey Sermon. Who was the other one? There's one more that I'm forgetting. It's another Trey, I feel like. Trey Sermon.
Trey
No.
Sermon.
Oh, it was the guy with the 3 names, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, Ty Davis Price.
Ty Davis Price.
TDP.
Yeah.
Was he a third rounder also?
He was a third
From
rounder.
LSU, right?
I mean, listen, I'm not going to lie to you guys. My favorite running back in this draft for the 49ers is probably going to go in the 5th tops.
Who is it? Give us a name.
Absolute tops. Woody.
I thought you were going to. Oh, Woody Marks from USC.
Back. Yeah. His name is Jaquavius or something like that, but they call him Woody. Woody Marks. This guy is a phenomenal pass catcher and route runner out the backfield. He breaks tackles. He is hard to bring down on first contact. His issue was getting touches over there at USC. He is going to be a phenomenal running back in the NFL. I promise you guys. This guy reminds me of Cooks. Like, he's that good. He's that good, but he just needs more opportunity and he needs to stay healthy. So I am like, there's going to be plenty of running backs to get later on. The Niners should not be looking at a running back in the 3rd round at all.
Our guy Stewart.
Ian Sharp just said it right there. This is a good running back draft, which means you don't need to go in the 3rd. You're going to get really good talent later on. This is a good running back draft for real.
Our guy Stewart loves is it RJ Harvey at a UCF? Did I get the name right? Yeah, RJ Harvey at a UCF. He shared this chart, which I'll show real quick, and then Matt, you could go.
Yeah.
Look at that production. Look where Harvey is.
What is this chat? Well,
what
is this chart?
Running back prospects, career explosive rushing, 10+ yard rushes, 2024, 2025 draft. So the last 2 draft classes.
Harvey's going to go top
Marks,
100-ish, though, right?
In the bottom left quarter, the bottom left quadrant. There's Marks over there, so that's not good. But again, this is all about opportunities and touches. So, yeah, he's down there. J Marks, bottom left. Junkins is way at the back in the middle there.
Yeah. Is that Garendo?
There he is.
They have people from like the last year.
Yeah, it's the last 2 drafts.
So my guy is kind of like in his own little. The one that I like Devin Neal from Kansas. I think that he's pretty good. He's a good pass catcher. That's kind of why I like him. He'd be good change of pace, so we didn't have to overuse Christian McCaffrey. I think, and does stuff that I don't know if Garendo is like the best pass catcher. I think if you're going to draft a running back, it should be like a dual threat guy.
Am I tripping, or can I not see him?
Devin Neal. He's right below the horizontal
line.
I
see right here.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
Is that Kentucky?
Mm-hmm. No,
the
Kansas.
Last Oregon running back the Niners had, was that what was the little short dude's name?
LaMichael James?
LaMichael James, yeah. LaMichael James, yeah. Jenkins.
And this is another Jordan James. This is another James guy. I don't know, man. Listen, I'm a little gun shy with Oregon offensive players. I think they're a little soft. But yeah, no, I like Devin Neal.
We had one more.
Jaden Blue from Texas, I like. Yeah.
Brandon Trejo. Guys, be nice to Mike. Remember, he was the Lance guy. I think we all were Lance guys at one point. Any rebuttal, Mike?
How do I get pegged as a Lance guy? So I supported the guy once he was on the Niners. I did not want the Niners to get a guy from that division with that little experience. I was not I was a Justin Fields guy prior to the draft. Once Lance signed with the team, I'm going to boost him and talk and look for the positives, absolutely. But I was a Justin Fields guy. I'm an Ohio State fan, guys. I was a Justin Fields guy true and through. That's who I wanted the Niners to take once they made that trade. Yep. So there's a difference between supporting someone once they're on your team and being that person's guy. I was not a Trey Lance guy at all. I did not want a Bison for the 3rd overall pick. Fuck that. I never – the only Bison that I wanted the Niners to take in the 1st round or maybe even 2nd was Christian, the wide receiver that Trey Lance was throwing to. He's the only one that I wanted the Niners to take in the first 2 rounds. So let's be very clear what we're talking about. So – no, I wasn't. I was not against Trey Lance once he was on the team. I was looking for the positives and what he could bring if he could refine those skills and hone those skills. So I like Mike is not a Trey Lance guy. Don't try to peg me as that.
Pause.
And I do think that he got a raw deal as a 49ers quarterback. But that's how I felt, right? 4 starts and you're moving on from him. I don't think that the Niners did themselves a favor by trading up all that equity and then only seeing him for 4 starts. I thought that we did ourselves a disservice to see if he could develop. But here we are, fast forward three seasons later, and he's on his way to his 3rd team now. So maybe they knew what they were looking at. Maybe they understood. Maybe they saw what I saw coming out of college. Finally, So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think I was more of a Zach Wilson guy in that draft, just because I thought it was a slightly bigger school. I still think that he would be a good backup for the 49ers. Somebody asked what happened to Donovan Edwards.
Yeah,
Man, just not a home run hitter. Plays with pretty crappy patience and balance, to be honest. He went from having multiple runs of 50 yards or over to having none this last season. I think Corum was definitely kind of the lead on that, and Edwards was the change of pace guy.
I wanted to ask you guys this question about the draft, and it's not player specific. So this is going to be, I think, maybe an easy one to answer. If there was a position that the Niners had to double up on in the first 100 picks, so basically the first 3 rounds, where the Niners have 4 or 5 picks, what position group would you want to see them double up on?
Before I answer, are we separating offensive tackle from interior line, and are we separating edge from defensive tackle, or are we grouping defensive line together, offensive line together? You can
say linemen, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, linemen or linemen. Because, and here's why.
Because you can move them.
We know that this team moves people. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They move those guys around. So that's why I can't do that.
For me, I have 2 real answers. One is the one that I want them to do, and 2 is the one that I think they're going to do.
I only want you to give one because
do what you want.
There's few.
Say what you want.
Just do
one.
The
one that I want would be to double up on the offensive line with the offensive tackle and an interior offensive lineman, guard / center. I think that again, if you get somebody like Membao, and then you get somebody like a Tate Ratledge from Georgia, or a Jonah, I can never say these, Savaina. Nea, whatever the guard from Arizona,
great.
Those you know what I mean. And then you can get a later round guy like a Wyatt Millum from West Virginia, just an Emory Jones from LSU. There are guys that you could take, but I think that there's been recent 49er content creators having arguments over was Brendel and McKivitz a problem in the Super Bowl, and it's a whole argument. Be that as it may, whatever side of the argument you fall on, I don't think anybody can watch all of the plays that McKivitz has messed up and Brendel has messed up and be like, nah, we're good, fam. We're good. And the argument devolved into, it wasn't even McKivitz, or it wasn't even Brendel. It was actually Burford. And I'm like, doesn't that underscore the point? So you got a third guy that's fucking up plays? At some point or another, right? If you want Brock Purdy to really excel, protect him. Protect him. We've seen what good offensive lines can do for players like Jalen Hurts, where it makes a world of difference to that guy. For again, if you want to know what you should do with your team, look to the ones that invest the most in the offensive line, like Kansas City, who invests in their offensive line every single season. When guys price themselves out, they move on, and then they draft a new guy. I don't know. Go ahead, Zach.
I would be happy with offensive line, be ecstatic with offensive line. Looking at the roster the way it stands, defensive line, I think, would have to be volume. I would be very happy if they got one quality offensive lineman to add, because I think that would even do wonders compared to what the 49ers have currently. Something tells me, and I really hope it's not true, that they would be okay going into another year with Brendel and McKivitz. If that's just how the board fell, oh, so what? But we got started here, we got started there, we got started. I really hope I'm wrong.
I hated that they glazed those two.
Yeah, they were great.
John Lynch being like, Brendel played great football on tape. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
He was a 64th center, John, out of 32 teams, 64th ranked. Anyway, just to answer Mike, and I'll go back to you.
Wait. He was 64th ranked
per PFF.
Per PFF as a pass blocker.
Oh,
64th
and one metric, not overall. So
yeah.
you guys, okay?
No,
he was like
the 14th or 12th or something
Yes.
ranked run blocker. He
Yes.
was a good run blocker, but pass blocking, it's
Horrible. That's why he's
Yeah,
got the name the Watcher. Anyway, defensive line. I think they have like 3 or 4 defensive linemen on the roster. They literally need bodies, so I would be okay. I'd be happy if they doubled down and took 2 defensive linemen. Mike, what about you?
So I've been thinking about this for a lot, right? And my gut
Mike's gonna
says,
be like wide receiver.
Tight end.
No, Matt nailed it, right? So my gut says, hear me out. Wait. I love that you said that, right? My gut says that they do defensive line because we skipped it all of last draft. We did not take a single defensive lineman. I think that
And that's
they're
my
more
gut,
likely
too.
to double up there.
That's the one that I
right?
think that I was gonna say. I
Yes.
think they will do that. That's the one.
Right. But if I take away my gut and just looking at this draft, the talent that's there, and looking at Brock Purdy's deficiencies, I would not be shocked at all if they look for a Jawan Jennings replacement and a Deebo Samuel replacement. Now, maybe not in that order. Maybe they'll flip it, right? Let's get someone else to take Deebo's place. Jawan Jennings is a solid wide receiver 3, right? Some teams would argue that he's a wide receiver 2, right? But I think that this team, what they need to do for Brock Purdy, especially because of his size and then his lack of ability to throw over the defensive line, is get him some guys with more height. I think the Niners should look at any wide receiver that is 6'2" or taller to give him a bigger radius to throw to and not have to try to throw these like sinking balls over that defensive line. That's where he gets in trouble. So I think that in the top 100, I wouldn't be surprised if they went with the 2 wide receivers, Matt. That was a phenomenal call on my bullshit. I like it.
Who would they be? Who would they be? If you were gonna say who the 2 were gonna be, like, do you think they like actually take like a Tet McMillan at 11?
No. I don't think they take one guy in the first round. I wouldn't be surprised if they went back to back in the 3rd round, though. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, there's
So
2
like
picks in the 3rd
a
round.
because they did have Alec Aomanor at their local pro day today.
Right, him, Savion Williams, like those.
Savion
those are
Williams was the other one that I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yes, yep. Those are
Yeah.
the guys right there that I think that the Niners might be looking at. 6'2" or taller. One guy is 6'4". You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the guys that I think that would help. So you don't have to have Brock Purdy trying to layer these throws.
Mike.
Go ahead.
The 49ers back-to-back picks they own. They have round 3. They have 2 third rounds, 75th and 100th. And then they have 2 fourth rounds, 113, 138. 2 fifth
But I said
round.
top 100. I did say top 100.
Oh, you're
That's
right.
what-
So
that's
it would
the only
have to
reason
be.
why I'm
It
doing
would have to be 75 and 100 then.
And
But
I
they
wouldn't be
got-
surprised if they were both wide receivers.
We got 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 5s, and 3 7s.
And 3 7s. No 6th-round picks so far. Yep. And I'm telling you guys, I wouldn't be surprised if it's fucking wide receiver at all.
What about
At all.
What about like a Jack Besh from TCU? You don't want to add another exciting white to the team? Has everybody seen? By the way, has everybody seen that meme?
Comes in early.
Has everybody seen that meme every time the 49ers sign like a white skill position player? It shows like a picture of a wine aisle, and it says "exciting whites" at the top.
And like a whole food.
Is that why Scatabo or whatever his name is being like mocked to the 49ers? Is that it?
100%.
Yeah.
Because Scatabo sucks, dude. Scatabo is not going to be a good NFL player.
I don't see it. I keep saying it, and people are calling me crazy, and I'm like, guys,
it's that, and people watched the one bowl game with him in it and like fell in love.
He's the fucking Tim Tebow of running backs. Like, I swear to God, I just don't see it, and I don't get it. But
By the way,
wrong.
He looks like Jake Moody's twin brother.
Oh yeah, totally.
Scatabo looks exactly like Jake Moody.
Minus the mullet.
Yeah.
Did you
and
see
maybe more muscles.
The Jake Moody propaganda getting put out there this past week of him kicking these midfield kicks. Get this fucker off my screen. I don't want to see this shit.
Whoa. There will be no Jake Moody slander right now. Absolutely not. No, you guys are fucking tripping.
Wait, did you also see
Siberia? Send him to a war camp.
But did you also see that they were tied to the YouTube kicker?
Yes,
Botskin or whatever his name is.
Twice they have visited with him.
They went to his pro day.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Twice they've done it with him. The YouTube kicker, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
I'm happy with that. I'd be stoked. All right, we got to wrap up here. I smell dinner is ready for me. I have a chat pack question.
Wait,
for you guys.
I do want to say this about Jack Beck.
Absolutely not. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
He's only 6'1", so he
Pronounced
wouldn't qualify for.
I
Besh,
know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
But he's right there on the cusp, bro. He's right there on the cusp. But I don't like him personally. But if the Niners would be, it wouldn't move it.
Well, just remember, Deebo Samuel's like 5'11 and a half, unless he like lays on his back, and then he's like 7'3". But
240.
Yeah, 240. But listen, Jack Besh is the type of, I guarantee you that he would be like a gold helmet guy. He's a workout warrior, loves to block, like runs good routes. Maybe not like a true like 4-3 guy or whatever, but short area quickness, like all the things that Kyle Shanahan would want. And he's polished. Like he fits the 49ers in that he has had an injury or two, but yeah, I could see them doubling up on wide receiver, but like maybe 4th and 5th round, like not high end guys. I think they really want to give Ricky Pearsall a chance to like take over that lead dog role. And we saw at the end of last year, he really started coming into his own. And unlike, some of the guys that we've seen in the past, like Mr. Kitty Cat, Dante Pettis at the end, he had a really good end of his rookie year, but I think that Ricky Pearsall is actually more of a dog, like not afraid to, get in contact and everything like that.
You have no fear that we might see that from Ricky Pearsall? Because wait, before you answer, there were no other options when we saw Ricky Pearsall ascend into, he might be something. Nothing. There were no other options. Okay.
Coming off basically 1,000-yard year, like there was still a number one option.
Guys,
what I saw,
Kittle's still there.
There were no other wide receiver options other than Jennings and then Pearsall, because we wanted.
But doesn't that mean he had to?
No. I get it. I get what Mike's saying, because like he had to play because they had no other like real healthy bodies. But at the same time, when I watch Dante Pettis and I watch Ricky Pearsall, I see two different players. I see Dante Pettis working to get to open space and run to open space, and I see Ricky Pearsall not afraid to take the slant over the middle and catch in traffic and get hit.
Matt, I'm going to judge you right now, but I'm not going to respond out loud to your answer.
Sure.
Based off of their rookie season end of year film, which one was about a better route runner?
That's
I am judging you. I'm not going to respond. Which one was a better route runner? Ricky Pearsall or Dante Pettis at the end of their rookie season?
I think it's a lot closer than most would.
I would say, I do think that Dante Pettis is a better route runner.
He was a great
route runner. But only because I think he said, I'm not going to respond. But here's the thing, because I think that what Ricky Pearsall does is he is very good in short area with moves and stuff. But I think that I definitely saw a couple times where like a Brock Purdy pass would be behind him. But I think that's because Ricky Pearsall was trying to do like one move too many. It's like when I saw Travis Hunter's pro day when he was doing the wide receiver stuff, and people put out the meme. It's like, dude, you took 12 seconds to do 12 moves to do a 4-yard route. Yeah. Like that was kind of like Ricky Pearsall would do like 3 fakes rather than put your foot in the ground and go. But if you ask me who I thought is the more physical player and the more willing to play to contact, it's no doubt Ricky Pearsall. And so I think that you could work on the timing with the routes and stuff. And I think Ricky Pearsall has the agility and the ability to do those crisper routes. It's not like a Deebo Samuel where like he's just going to be a shitty route runner forever. You know what I mean? So like, I think that's part of it.
I want to add real quick too. Pettis had all 16 games, right? Pearsall got shot. The brother got shot. Like, I think he would definitely have come on a lot earlier had he not had to deal with bullets in his chest. Is that not even worth like consideration, Mike? I see you just push the mic out of your face. It's like, that's not even like a little something. Maybe he would have had like 800, 900 yards with Ayuk getting injured in week 4 or 5, Deebo coming in, Tubster. I think that's worth something. I'm just going to say it.
Without the lack of Ayuk and the lack of Deebo, Pearsall doesn't even touch the field for the 49ers in his rookie season. Now, Pettis doesn't touch the field if we had any respectable starters either. So that's
by the way, Pettis might be the one that fucked it up for everybody else too.
Yes.
Right. Like, I think Pettis is what caused the fear in rookie wide receivers going forward. So,
Also, people need to remember that Kyle Shanahan was a college wide receiver.
why
And
he's
so
hard.
that's going to be the position that he is the hardest on. That he's going to be
sure.
like nitpick
sure.
the shit out of. You know what I mean? But I think the 49ers have somebody in Pearsall. And I think that if he can stay healthy and actually get this opportunity, because it's going to be him and Jennings, I think, at the beginning of the year, despite what everybody is speculating, just from what I know about an unhappy triad injury, I think week 4 to week 6 is way more reasonable to expect Brandon Ayuk's return. And by the way, when he comes back, you're not going to want him out there every single play anyway. He should be the guy that comes in for 3 wide receiver sets and get his run that way and build him back up, so that if you can get him to the end of the season, now maybe Brandon Ayuk is much more prepared to take on that larger role. But I think Ricky Pearsall gives them a really good shot. So I don't think that they would take a bunch in the top 100, not with the other needs that they have. I think that's more of a luxury pick, that like starting in round 3 when you have they have 2 or 3 third-round picks?
2.
I think they have 2?
2 thirds, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, 3 sevenths.
Okay. Starting in round 3, maybe round 4, that's when you could do, I could see that double up. You know what I mean? I could see them do bam, bam. But it also depends. We've seen it too, right? Where we've seen the draft and it's like, dang, man, this entire position group is just sitting here. And then all of a sudden one team takes one, and then there's a 14 pick run on every single player in that position group. So, yeah.
You have one more question, Mike?
Yeah, my last question for you guys. I won't pin it to a specific position, but do you guys think the Niners draft a special teamer? Not a return guy. I'm talking kicker, punter, long snapper only. Do you think they draft one in this upcoming draft? I don't think so. It's just a yes or no.
No. Burned. Too burned.
Yeah.
Plus too many positions of need.
Well, and here's the thing, because again, you can get, the Cowboys got Brandon Aubrey off the undrafted free agent pile. You can get guys that way. And again, if they get the YouTube guy, he's already had his opportunity to get drafted. You know what I mean? Like, they'll just bring him in. I do think that Wisnowski's injury has been a problem. Like, I don't know if he's going to stay on this team. And honestly, I got to be honest, I did not really miss him last year.
Thank you, Mike. Wasn't I not saying that the whole time? I forget the black punter that we had. What was his name?
Yeah, not Hunter. King. No. Oh shit. I'll find it.
Chat, do you know the black punter we brought in? He was kicking fucking dots, dude. And I say black punter because there's not that many. Is it King? Was it King? 805 says King. Terrence King.
I thought it was King also, but I'm not 100% sure.
Presley Harvin.
Presley Harvin.
Fucking Harvin. That's who it was.
Thank you, DJ
Harvin,
Malone.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was Harvin. King was the guy for Marquette King. Wow.
Yeah, he was the
guy for the Raiders.
The Dancy dude.
Yeah.
805. Yeah, he was a lefty. By the way, we got Sean Super Chat member for 7 months. Look at him.
Yeah.
Rev is in the house. Sub Money Mike. Sub Matt. Sub Zach. God isn't good. He is great. Pearsall did great as a rookie. Hopefully no second-year blues. Praying we actually get 6 starters out of the draft. 6 starters, baby. Woo! That'd be like as great as it can be. I'd be happy with
3
4.
starters tops.
Yes.
3 starters tops. But I will say 6 major contributors is the goal.
Yep.
6. We have to remember, specifically with the defensive line, none of those guys should be pegged as starters.
No,
right?
they rotate. Rotational.
Yes. And that's what we have to remember. Like, starting is literally the first snap of that position group in each game. I don't think we get 6 starters out of this draft. However, we can get major contributors. Yeah.
6.
We can get major contributors.
I'm with you. Like 2 to 4 starter, like day 1 starters. I mean, if you get 4, that's absolutely outstanding. Right. But 6 contributors for sure.
Well, real quick, how many? Then we'll go to the chat pack. Last year's draft, you got Green, Mustafa, Pooney, Garendo. If McCaffrey wasn't here, he would have been a starter. He did start games last year.
Pearsall-ish.
Pearsall. That's 5 right there.
Yeah.
Am I forgetting any?
And it took a completely depleted roster for those for the last 3 that you guys named of the 5.
But they performed well.
Mike, right, going forward, they are going to be contributors. Like Renardo Green is starting this year.
Right. But what I'm saying is that you guys just named 5 guys who started for the Niners. Oh, God damn it! This fucking camera.
Well, but
started
like,
blinking.
so my
if it
point
zooms
is, like,
out again, I apologize.
when we do this for like Pearsall and then like this one for Garendo, we're acknowledging like they contributed, but they weren't supposed to be starters.
Yeah, those are the high
Right.
level contributors you were talking
But
about.
even those
right.
guys may not be starters next year. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
so that's we were trying to differentiate between starters versus contributors, and I think what Sean really wants is 6 major contributors. I think that's reality.
Yeah.
I
Realistic,
think we can do that this draft.
Yeah.
But I think all of them except for Garendo is going to start next year.
Yeah.
And Garendo could start on probably 15 teams.
I mean, well, yeah, but here's the thing: he's going to be like the high level backup. He's going to be the number 2.
Yep.
So like
he's going to
Elijah
be what
Mitchell
Mason should have been.
Mason gone. Man, I still feel like
we traded him.
Mike, maybe I was wrong, man. Maybe him saying some shit on Sunday Night Football or Monday Night Football or whatever it was. Maybe that really did fuck him up, dude.
Y'all
They
called
didn't
me
give him
crazy.
Any fucking plays.
Y'all called me crazy. I told y'all he was going to pay for that, and y'all looked at me like I was fucking nuts,
Dude.
and I accepted it. I didn't bring it up anymore.
Get the fuck out of
As
here.
soon as McCaffrey got back, Kyle said, "Fuck off."
Okay,
I don't even
now-
know you. Delete my number.
Yeah.
Now, here's the flip, and I want y'all to honestly answer this question, please. Who was better for the 49ers? You can talk about receiving. You could talk about running. You could talk about blocking.
I mean, listen. If you're talking about
Was it
last year,
Garrett?
it was
Last year, was it Garendo or Mason? Who was better for the
Mason.
49ers?
Mason.
I rest
100%
my
Mason.
case. I
100%
rest my
Mason.
case.
Yeah.
But Garendo didn't get any run until fucking McCaffrey got hurt either,
Right.
though. Kyle just runs his running back 1 into the fucking ground.
Yeah, sadly.
AKA, he runs Christian McCaffrey into the ground. Like, because there is no other running back 1 that he's really had here.
By
And
the
he
way,
just run his ass into the
if
ground.
I'm Kyle and we have the second highest paid running back in the NFL, I'm running him into the
I'm
ground.
running his ass in the ground too.
I'm not thinking twice about that shit. You are getting
Yep.
every carry until
Right.
you are out of the off
That's
the
why
field and
that's why
stretcher.
he said in the interview this last week, he's like, we draft a running back every year. I'm like, no shit, dude. You go through them like fucking
Right.
Yeah.
like I go through diapers with my toddler. Just fucking all right, here's another shitty one. Get him out of here.
We got another super chat. Then we're going to hit chat packs. Sean, thank you very much, Sean. Oh, 100% on all the paperwork, Mike. All legit. Do you think we get a stud running back high round? You're right. 7 is God's number. Even better. When do we sign Purdy? Garendo looking strong in PTs. Mike, you want
This is a
to?
loaded one. So, Sean, I want to give a round of applause for Sean. He started his own church.
Oh,
Hey,
wonderful.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. So, Minister Sean, Pastor Sean, Reverend Sean, however you guys want to refer to him, or Shepherd, I should say, not Sean. So, kudos to you, Sean. I'm very, very proud of you for that. Do we get now he says a stud running back in the high rounds? No. I think you can get a stud running back in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round in this draft. So I wouldn't do that. Stop moving camera, please. All right. And then he says, you're right, 7 is God's number, even better. When do we sign Purdy? Purdy, I don't think will sign an extension this season.
Ooh.
I think the only way, hear me out. Okay, let me change my answer. The only way Purdy gets an extension during the season is if the Niners start 7, 8, or 9-0. That is the only way Purdy gets an extension, because he's going to price himself too high for the Niners to wait to the end of the season. Because you guys know, once you start 6-0, you have an 82% chance of making the postseason. 6-0 is all it takes, and you got an 82% chance of making the postseason. You go 50% of the way, the rest of it after that, and you got a winning record easily. You're 11 wins. So that's why I say that if they start that high, then Purdy, therefore, I think the Niners want to see if Purdy is the guy. If we start out 3-3, there is no chance in hell that Purdy is getting that extension. That's how I feel. I think they're going to play long ball with him.
Couldn't you also make the argument if they start 3-3, they're going to try and get him signed for cheaper? Try and get it in. Like, see, the only number's going to keep going down.
So it depends on how those 3-3 look, right? If it's 3-3 and Purdy's the reason we lost 3 of those games, then no. However, if we're 3-3 and Purdy looked great, but running backs are fumbling, wide receivers are dropping passes or tipping it up in the air, then maybe I can see it your way. But it depends on how that 3-3 looks. So you're right.
All right. We got another super chat. Kyle wears the same sneakers when he does yard work. What the heck? Interesting thought. Thank you, Sean.
I think Purdy signs by June.
I would say
Like,
July the latest.
OTAs.
Yeah. All right, chat pack time, and then we're going to wrap up before the
Real quick,
draft. 15 days.
While you're some breaking news, according to Coach Yak on Twitter, who got this from Football Zebra, so take this with a grain of salt. We can do more research later. But apparently the NFL fired 3 officials and demoted them to college football. So second-year umpire James Carter, third-year line judge Robin DiLorenzo, and first-year down judge Robert Richardson were all sent back to college.
Damn.
That's good.
I didn't know.
Robin DiLorenzo in particular, terrible line judge.
I didn't know that there was that relationship between the NFL and college where they could just demote.
Well, I mean, the referees, yeah, they'll go back up and back and forth. But I think DiLorenzo was she the one that gave that like god awful spot in the playoff game? Remember the one where they were like it wasn't the Josh Allen one. There was another one where she like marked the ball like a yard short.
Right. Yep. Wow.
You know who I'm talking about. I don't know the specific game. I can't remember the game off the top of my head, but I remember her fucking that play up.
Did they come in and overrule or no?
No, I think they took her spot.
They just took the spot.
And then on replay, they said it's not enough to overturn. By the way, thank God they are going to use laser measurement for the football this year.
Finally.
Thank God.
Finally. All right. Let's get some chat back in.
All right, let's do it.
If rain could fall in any scent, what scent would you want it to be?
Pine. I'm a Northern
My fat
California
ass went
kid.
to food immediately. Damn.
Nah, man. Nah. Listen, I grew up in Northern California. I've been, in pine forest, redwood forest. There's something about like on a rainy day when you're in the woods, like the smell of the rain on the trees. It's just like, it's a soothing scent, and it's something that isn't strong enough to like overpower. Like you still live your life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you smelled like burrito all the time or pizza all the time or hamburgers all the time, eventually you're gonna be like, fuck, I wish I didn't smell that, man. It'd become a nuisance,
True.
Like, and there are scents that I don't like. I don't like those musky floral scent, like rose.
Lavender.
Rose shit, dude. Lavender, I don't mind, but like what I'm talking about, and like the old ladies wear that shit in their perfume. It's like this musky potpourri smelling trash. I can't stand it. But like fresh pine, shit, sign me up. Like bourbon barrel or like wood barrel, come on, man, sign me up for that shit.
Mike.
Yeah, maybe it's the Scotch guy in me or the cigar smoker, but on a rainy day, there is no scent better than cedar wood to me.
Oh, cedar's good.
Very good.
So
very good.
I use when it rains, I go outside in my little gazebo. I put the screens down so that the air can flow through. I sit close in the middle, and I have these thin cedar chips, like they're strips of cedar that I light my cigars with, and there is nothing more relaxing. So I'm with you on the earthy tone, Matt. I like the pine, but pine reminds me too much of cleaning anymore. Maybe because I grew up with the.
Well, hold up though. Pine Sol does not smell like pine, my friend.
When you say pine, I think of Christmas trees. Just so I'm clear, like I think of I don't know what
evergreen
type of tree.
Like a Christmas tree. Like when you smell it, but that's
Christmas
not like
trees make me think of cleaning though. Is all I'm saying. But cedar doesn't
probably because they
me.
made Joe ask it up all the little leaves all the little pines that fell off, huh?
So the worst part is we got to sweep them up first, because if there's too many, it messes up the vacuum cleaner filter and bag.
Yeah.
So we got to sweep them first and then vacuum what we couldn't get with the broom. But yeah, so it smelled like work. I didn't want to do the work, but cedar has never ever betrayed me. If it rained and it could smell like cedar, I would sit outside all the time with a nice cigar. I don't even need scotch. Just give me just the cigar and a glass of water, and I would be in heaven.
A little bit of wood smoke too.
Oh my god!
Shit, man!
What? Are you kidding me? Oh.
Can't little campfire without having to worry about the smoke actually following you around.
Yes, sir. Oh,
yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Like I said, the fat ass in me. Chocolate chip cookies.
I like how the thinnest motherfucker on the show says the fat ass in me.
We're all big boned at heart.
Cookies, yeah.
We're all big boned at heart. But if it was like a scent that's not food, campfire.
Yeah.
Because Matt,
Yeah,
I didn't even
yeah.
think about like the environment when it would rain, but imagine just like a nice
Mhm.
rainy environment and it smells like campfire. Like that'd be nice. Then you just want
Yeah.
to go home, put your fireplace on, cuddle with your dogs, watch some TV.
You want the nature,
I'm
the
glad.
comfort. Yeah.
I don't think anybody in here said ocean breeze, and I'm so glad because let me tell you, I live in San Diego. Okay, the ocean smells like shit.
Yeah.
Okay, it smells like marine animal, and it's
I thought that
disgusting.
was only on the East Coast, so I'm glad that
Nah,
your guy
bro.
smells like shit too.
No,
on the West
yeah,
Coast,
man.
So that's cool.
Like, dude, seals smell terrible.
All those animals
Fucking
pissing shit
fish,
in there.
Terrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
We live. I mean, you know, we have some beaches that are no contact because we get like Tijuana sewage runoff. Like, it can be bad over here, man. Ocean breeze, not all it's cracked up to be. I do love the sound of waves crashing on the beach, though. That's for sure. Texas. So listen. That's the shit. I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful how I say this. That's the Gulf of Mexico / America, whatever you want to call it. That's a Gulf.
It smells
dude.
like
That's not even
Coke,
really
bitch.
ocean.
It smells like Coke. You can say it.
Let's
I got your back.
Let's wrap up.
Okay, I'm sorry. All
Mike,
right, all right.
please let the folks know where to find
guys,
you if they don't
please make sure that you guys are locked in and subscribe to 49ers Hive on YouTube and on X.com. All right, 49ers Hive. And if you guys want some bonus content, patreon.com/NB9ERS is the place to be. I had a blast. I hope you guys did too. Subscribe. Let's go.
Appreciate you, Mike. Matt, please take us out.
Absolutely. Listen, we only got what's today?
15
it's
days.
the 9th. 15 days until the draft. So very, very, very excited for that. We're gonna try to get you another show next week. Man, we got to try to make it work. If not, though, because I'm headed to Las Vegas for WrestleMania prior to my child being born. So got to get that in there.
Mike and I can hold it down if you're not available.
Yeah. I'm actually heading with some of our boys from the Hive chat, Brandon and Christian. So they have the Forever Faithful podcast. But yeah, we're gonna go to do that. But man, if not, I'm gonna try to be back for at least one more show. Try to be here for the draft. So I hope you guys join us. We're always making that great content. Mike, thank you as always for holding it down like you always do. I love the thought-provoking questions. Zach, the host with the most. This was fun. I miss this. You know, I've been in and out of the last couple, but this was super fun, and I'm glad we got to do this. So for Mike, for Zach, for myself, I hope you guys had a blast too. Thank you as always for joining us, and until next time, go Niners.